好，阿弥陀佛，欢迎我们参加，各位参加我们的虚老和尚画传。Welcome everybody to our lecture series on the picture biography of Master Empty Cloud. Glad you are here with us. Today is Saturday, the 30th of November. 今天是11月30号 here in 六龟, Taiwan, in Kaohsiung County. 我们今天在那个高雄县的六龟这个法界圣寺 we're at Dharma Realm Monastery to continue our series on Master Empty Cloud's biography. Now, today, Vera is going to request Dharma all the way from Brazil. So let's bring up our Dharma request. Here it is. 今天 Vera 要请法，她在巴西。Okay, let me first ring the bell 3 times, and then we can all make 3 half bows. And after that, Vera will request Dharma. 我准备敲眼磬敲3下，大家可以在自己的座位上可以行3个问讯礼，然后呢，Vera 来请法。Okay, ready? 一问讯，二问讯，三问讯。Okay, Vera, if you'd like to request Dharma, please go ahead and do it now.
恭敬大德圣听，为此法会集一切众生，经转妙法轮教导我们。如何了生脱息离苦得乐，速者无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering and attain bliss and in birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samyao samputoshye.
Namo Sadanto Suchedoye Alahudi Samyao Samputoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Okay, Vera, thank you so much. We appreciate the Dharma request. 那么现在我们就开始我会讲英语来解释今天的画传。愿意听一种流利的普通话、中文、国语的翻译的话呢，你们的软体都有一个 interpretation，那个控制板的右下角看到 interpretation。哪里有 Chinese，你就把打开了，都可以听到我们王立夫居士他在澳大利亚翻译呢，那么各位可以听到我所讲的英语， 可以听到一种流利的这个翻译。And those who want to hear Vietnamese, there is a link in the chat box where if you click on that, you can find a Vietnamese translation on Zoom. Okay. Oh, she says, let's see. You're right. Okay, thank you. Now we can hear the bell sound. 好的，好的。If you want to have a Vietnamese translation, there is a link. Also, next week, if you would like to request Dharma, send an email to our intrepid coordinating secretary, Chan Yu, and she will set you up to request Dharma. Thank you so much for that. Okay, now let's take a look. Who is joining us today? There's a fairly small number of friends here today. They are in where? Brazil, in California, Ukiah, in the Gold Coast of Queensland, in, let's see here, in, where else? Campbell, California, Brian is here. Celeste is in Hong Kong. Connie's in Sunnyvale. Cynthia is here from Saratoga. Welcome. Duke Leban from Montreal, Canada. Where else? Edna from Singapore. Elaine in Ukiah. Elaine in San Jose. Florence is, I bet she must be in Ukiah. Ian is here in Albany Creek. I don't know where Albany Creek is. We'll find out later. Let's see here. Jensen's in Jakarta. Jin Yong Shir is sitting here beside me. That's amazing. Okay, good. Johan is in Malaysia. Let's see. Chen Jun is in Shandong. Kelly's in Ukiah. Leah's in Waterloo, Ontario. Loy is in Singapore, listening in. Mai is in LA. Another Mai is in Bay Area. Melody is in Zhuhai. Michael's in St. Petersburg, Florida, where they're rebuilding after the hurricane. Nini is in Manila, Philippines. Hi there, Nini. Wan Long is in Mesa, Arizona. Fanto and Christine are in LA. Ron's in San Jose. Sarah's in Memphis. She requested Dharma last week. Tina's in Oklahoma. Tran Nguyen is in San Jose. Let's see here. The Viet DRBA is somewhere in the Bay Area. Ying is here somewhere. 然后呢，我们就改到另外那个地球的那一班。陈福芬在台北。Let's see here. 于清家在北京，还有内蒙古包头市。还有哈尔滨，还有北京，还有江苏盐城，北京、西安、黑龙江，浙江南海，安徽宿州，陕西宝鸡，吉林，哈尔滨，陕西太原 ，OK， 清凉粤蔬菜馆北京包头，北京、哈尔滨、浙江、朝阳 and 上海，哇，全球的人都来收听，你说不容易啊？Okay, let's see here. We want to also right now, we'd like to, 我们恭敬地 let's see here. Did I? 我们let's see. We 就说 Tabarlo. How did I miss it? Let's try one more time. Here we go. 那我们就说，我们恭敬地承认大吴龙族人和大吴龙语人是我们寺院所在地的传统叙事者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。We would like, I'm going to go backwards here and say that we would like to acknowledge the Taverlong and Roron peoples who practice their spiritual connections to the earth and to all creation here in Six Turtles in Liu Gui, on their ancestral land for tens of thousands of years. Our local river that just down the hill is called the Lao Nong Xi. That's the Roron people. Today we acknowledge them as traditional custodians and original storytellers of these lands. We offer our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. Okay. Further, we have the bell song. Here we go. The bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000界内，佛法扬万亿国中，共寻其法界和平，利益报他诺后德。All right, that is the end of our preliminaries. We'll close this. Everyone who is joining us maybe for the first time, okay, Albany Creek is north of Brisbane, good. Okay, what are we doing here? Master Empty Cloud, our grand teacher, lived to be 120 years old. He was the most significant monk of 3 centuries, and he rebuilt the Chan school. So we honor him following our teacher, Master Xuyun Lecture, who took those 120 years and turned it into 200 episodes and found an artist to draw a picture for each episode. So we have Xuyun Lecture Hua Zhuan, the picture biography of Master Empty Cloud. And Master Hua further wrote a 4-line verse to set off each episode. So we took that book, which emerged in Hong Kong after Master Empty Cloud's Nirvana, 1959, and we translated it into English. So I am here to present to everyone both the Chinese and the English of Master Empty Cloud's Hua Zhuan, picture biography. Usually we get 2 episodes per week, and we've kind of found our rhythm now because I try to get a map online to show where he travels, because we're going to discover in the next few episodes that on foot, starting with the 3 Steps 1 Bow pilgrimage, Master Empty Cloud covered 10,000 Chinese miles on foot. So just a remarkable man and a true Mahayana Buddhist hero who did more things in his life than we can imagine, including living 120 years long, which is in itself quite an amazing accomplishment. So that's the background. Let's get started. We'll use that a little later. This is what we want. Okay. Here we are. This is today's section, and it's 91 out of 200. We're almost halfway through. 高鼎寺显览放香, perceiving magic orchids emitting fragrance at Gaoding Monastery. He is 50 years old, not even half his life. It's 1889. This is the 19th century. It's the 15th year of the Guangxu Emperor's reign. And here's the story. Okay, because these are not the Buddha's words, we don't put our palms together, so I'll just read it. You're all welcome to read with me. 下基山至楚雄府，西门外高鼎寺，住未几，温兰香满室，只是僧相公至贺曰：上座至，而闲兰香，艺术也。府至载，山有闲兰，不见其形。遇真人而放香烟，今日兰香上座得感，招待深殷勤。Okay, the master left Jizu Mountain and went to Gaoding, Lofty Censer Monastery, outside the western gate of Chuxiong Prefecture. This is in Yunnan Province in southwestern China. Before long, A fragrance of orchids permeated the entire monastery. The managing monk congratulated the master, saying, "This fragrance of immortal orchids, which marks your arrival, is a very rare occurrence. The local records indicate there are immortal orchids on the mountain, but they're invisible. It's said that they emit their fragrance only when a true cultivator arrives. And so this orchid fragrance comes in response to the Venerable Master's virtue. As a result, the Master was treated with utmost deference." Okay, what is it? This is a miracle story. It's also a response story. This is a 灵感故事 from the virtue of Master Empty Cloud. Now, just a few weeks ago, as we were lecturing, we heard Master Empty Cloud coming outside Jizushan, and there was a bell that rang 3 times, loudly. And there was a legend in the community that when somebody with extraordinary virtue shows up, when a sage or a bodhisattva or something like that shows up, there can be a response. There can be the ringing of this bell 3 times. Well, that's what happened. And so people look around, who was that? Why did the bell ring? Well, on one hand, as what I said back then, you could say, well, it's a miracle, no cause, just kind of out of space, the miracle happened. Saints be praised, hallelujah, right? So you completely give up responsibility as a person. Well, the Buddhists would hear that answer and they would say, that's not a Buddhist answer. We don't call it a miracle, we call it supreme cause and effect, sheng yin guo. That is to say, this is still a response to somebody's remarkable qualities. How is that possible? How does that work? It's because they say, Tian Di Ren, heaven, earth, and humanity are linked in harmony. And when one of the 3 has something extraordinary happen, the other 2 respond. In this case, it's Master Empty Cloud's cultivation, which brought his virtue to a rare level. And because he is so good, you could say, so heaven and earth respond in a good way as well. Now, if that principle is true, then the opposite is also true, which is when humans are awful, when humans do something truly terrible, like causing a war or that sort of thing, heaven and earth also respond. So you know what they say, where there has been a war for 7 years, the crops do not grow lush. There's a corresponding negative response after something truly terrible happens. So humanity, our part, heaven, its part, earth, its part, are all mutually interconnected and responsive. So here's Master Empty Cloud, and is he sniffing orchids? Well, he doesn't pay attention. Gao Ding Si says here up on you can see up on the above the door, 那个门牌. Okay, here is Shifu's verse. Shifu says, 仙兰放香非偶然，必有真人降其间，上作圣德能感召，殷勤恭敬请留言. The fragrance of the immortal orchids appears not by chance, but only when somebody truly awakened appears among us. The Venerable Master's awesome virtue evoked this response. Showing deep reverence, the monks asked him, please stay. Don't you know they did? So, okay, now we are here, we're sitting in the Buddha Hall at Fajie Sheng Si here in Taiwan, and I know at the same time there are Dharma friends, Bhikshunis, Dharma friends, gathered in Australia at Lungyen Sheng Si, at Gold Coast Dharma Realm, looking at a screen. just the same. So the Dharma ties our communities together. So let's see here. What do? We look at Master Empty Cloud's Nianpu to fill in some of the details. Now, what is the Nianpu? This is his biography. Master Empty Cloud himself occasionally wrote down when things happened. He never bragged about himself. He never even, you don't get the feeling that he paid much attention to things like orchids appearing in, when they never do, with a sweet fragrance, because he's a true cultivator. He's seen through the illusion of the self, and so he doesn't want to do things that reinforce that view of the self. But he still tells the truth. This really happened. Here we go. 下山有两往山，九峰山至云南县，经水木山、灵鹫山、慈溪山. So he's going through all of these different mountain ranges. He's walking through the mountains. 至出胸腹，在西门外高定寺住. So he says, I went past Emperor Liang's, or King Yang's mountain, Nine Peaks Mountain, south of the Clouds County, to the Water Eye Mountain and Magic Vulture Mountain, to Purple Creek Mountain, and he got to the place called Chusheng County. And there's a monastery outside the door to the west, the main door of the city, called Lofty Censer Monastery. And that's where I stopped, he said. 初到未及, when I first got there, 闻兰香满室, there was a scent of orchids which filled the room. 只是僧相与致贺. The monk in charge there praised me, and the shangzuo, or welcomed me, said, welcome here. The shangzuo, the monk who was the elder in the community, said, when immortal or magic orchids release a fragrance, 艺术也, it's because there is somebody special. 父之哉, we know in our the records of our monastery that these special magical orchid flowers live in the mountains already, 不见其形, but they're invisible. We don't know where they are. 与真人而放香烟. As soon as a true person, that is to say a cultivator, shows up, they emit their fragrance. 今日兰香满山. Today, the fragrance of the orchids is filling the mountain, not just the monastery. 上座得感. So the elder monk was really moved and praised him. 招待殷勤. And they did a better job of welcoming Master Empty Cloud. Oh, who are you? You caused the invisible orchids to be fragrant. 见留久住. They strongly ask me to stay. Please stay with us. 无以予以回乡籍. I wanted to get back home to my ancestral home in Hunan, 确知, so I said no. 依苏即行. One night, I stayed one night, then I left. Okay? So this is his own encounter. Master Hua took that story and wrote the text for the picture biography. Okay? Everybody see how this system works? Now, I did some homework. And let's see here. Here we have, let's see here. Here we go. Okay. This is 高雄出雄市. 出雄市就在这里. Let's zoom in here. Here is Kunming. Here is 大理州. 出雄市就在这儿. Okay. It doesn't. Okay, here is the 出雄 Shan is here. Okay, everybody get a feel for how it's set up. And let's take a look. Let's get the bigger picture back out here. The Arhai is right here. Jizushan is up here, and that's where he was last time. So he walked down through the river bottom to here, and you can see this is Yunnan. Let's see. This here is Pu'er. Here is Xishuangbana, Yunnan, where the Pu'er tea comes from. He wants to get back. He wants to go north to Hunan, so he refuses the invitation to stay. Now, 2 weeks ago, we heard about his visit to Rangoon, to the Dajinta. This is Myanmar, otherwise known as Burma, right down here. This is Mian 那个缅甸就是这边，所以他走路 he walked all the way down here, then he walked all the way back up. Here's Mandalay, and walked back up to Arhai in Yunnan. In the process, he saw monasteries at Jizushan where nobody was cultivating. In fact, the temples were passed on from father to son, and monks who wanted to stay were not allowed. So he really got a good look at the state of Hanchuan Fojiao in the 19th century. And the things that Master Empty Cloud saw were the motivations for him rebuilding temples, as he did. Okay, now let's look at that miraculous thing that happened. I asked a question. I said, is it the case that orchids are fragrant? Do orchids release a fragrance? And the answer came back, yes, they do. There are 5 kinds of Chinese orchids. There is Jianlan, Cymbidium ensipholium, and this is the sword orchid, and it smells very sweet. Cultivated in China for centuries, associated with elegance and nobility. Jianlan, okay? There's also the Chinese orchid, Hui Lan, known for a subtle, refreshing scent. Cymbidium sinensis. Sinensis means Chinese. So, fragrance described as lightly sweet and herbal, popular in traditional Chinese culture, Hui Lan. So if there are any people who grow orchids, this is your lecture today. The Cymbidium geringi is the Chun Lan, spring orchid, blooms early in the year, emits a light, pleasant aroma. The fragrance is subtle and soothing. There is the Shi Hu Lan, Dendrobium species. Not all dendrobiums are fragrant. Some are used in Chinese herbal medicine, which give off a mild aroma. Finally, there is the Wan Dai Lan, Vanda species. They grow in China. They can emit a strong, sweet fragrance, especially in the evening. And it says if you want your orchids to smell sweet, you have to look at what time of day. Some orchids release their scent during the morning, some in the evening. You have to look at the environment, because temperature, humidity, and ventilation can affect the strength of the fragrance. Species and varieties. Not all orchids are fragrant, so choosing a known fragrant variety is essential. Notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't say if a sage arrives. That would be the 6th kind of orchid that they release their fragrance when a sage, a Zhenren, a true person, arrives. So how remarkable that our monk, our Chinese Buddhist grand teacher's presence can evoke a response from the world of plants. Who would think that, well, actually we know there's another time, this is later on in his biography, we haven't got there yet, But when he went to transmit precepts, at one point the peach trees bloomed twice in a year. And anybody who cultivates fruits will say impossible. You can't cause the seasons or the plant. The plants are simply on their own schedule, right? Well, not the case when the sage shows up. He can inspire the plant kingdom to respond. Amazing, amazing. Okay, moving on here. We've got another story. Here it is. 九江庐山海会寺. So he is still 50 years old. It's still 1889. And let's take a look. First of all, let's get the map first. Okay, 九江海会寺. Take a look right here. Here we go. Here is Jizushan. This is where he was 2 weeks, two lectures ago. And here is Arhai is there. He came down to Chuxiong. This is the Yi Minzu, right? The Yi tribe, the Yi race. The Xiaoshu Zhongzu in China. Then he went to Jiujiang, which there's Qujiang. Where is Jizushan? Let's see, Jiujiang. Haihui-si. Just a moment. We'll go right to it. There we are. Haihui-si is in Lushan. So he walked a long way from, I'm looking for Kunming. Let's see here. Got to go farther away. Okay, Jingzhou, Zhangjiajie, way south. There's Guilin.
I thought you passed.
So the next episode, Liuzhou. This is, okay, I'm looking for, there's the Miaozu. Here we are. Here's Chuxiong. He walked from there all the way to Haihui-si, which is here. So, one more time. Everybody feeling queasy and you're watching the moving around? Okay, he went to Jiujiang Haihui-si. From where you see the heart here in Dali, he went all the way to Jiujiang Haihui-si. Okay, now here's the story. 楚兄府行经昆明府曲靖府达贵州省寻道东行入湘西达衡阳礼恒志和尚至湖北宝通寺礼智默和尚学大悲忏法币赴九江入庐山礼智善和尚于海会寺参加念佛法会道场 Okay, the master walked. Now imagine, think of on your feet. The master walked through the prefectures of Chuxiong, Kunming, and Qujing to Guizhou province. He went east to Shaanxi and Hengyang, where he bowed to the Venerable Master Heng Zhi. Then he went to Baotong Temple in Hubei and bowed to the abbot Zhimo, and he stayed there till he finished learning the Great Compassion Repentance. Proceeding then to Lushan in Jiujiang, he paid his respects to the High Master Zhishan, and at Haihui Monastery took part in a Buddha recitation Dharma assembly. Okay. Here's the picture. Yeah, take a look. He's out there in nature with his monk staff. His robe is patched. Can you imagine how many pairs of shoes or how many times he had to repair his shoes walking all this distance? And he's looking up at tall mountain peaks. This, what do they say? His bones were made of steel. For somebody to travel this far on foot just is astonishing. For those of us who jump on the high-speed rail. So yesterday, in the last 48 hours, I flew from Brisbane, 9 hours to Taiwan, and then as we crossed over Taiwan, we flew from the south to the north. We landed in Taoyuan in the north. We hopped on the high-speed rail and came right back south, and then got off at Zuoying, jumped in a car, and then drove to Liugui. So for us to travel these distances is a matter of airplanes, trains, and cars. Master Empty Cloud walked. He walked. He used his feet to travel all this distance. And as a result, he knows where he's been. He paid his respects at all the Buddhist sites. He got to meet all of the noble monks of the era, and they got to see him. And he also got to digest the experience of 3 steps, 1 bow, which took him 3 years to complete. And he did so to repay the kindness of his mother, because she passed away giving birth to him. So, what did he say? Lu shan bi shu shen qing liang, yuan jin zhi ming you ke mang, zhi shan zhu chi hai hui si, nian fo fa hui jing du tang. Lushan's shelter from hot weather is a cool, refreshing place. It's famous near and far, and always full of tourists. The Venerable Master Abbot Zhishan of Haihui Monastery held a Buddha recitation assembly in the Pure Land Hall. Okay, so that's Shifu's verse for it. Now, anybody who has been to Lushan knows that this is a powerful Buddhist environment. There's lots of cultivation going on here. And something I left out as I was explaining the pilgrimage of Master Empty Cloud is everywhere he went, he took part in cultivation activities, either joining Chan sessions, bowing to the sages and the ancients, the patriarchs at Jizushan, bowing to the elder patriarch Mahakashyapa, who is there waiting for Maitreya Buddha to arrive. And he, what else? He here is studying the Dabe Chan, because there is a monk who, Master Zhimo, is famous in instructing the Dabe Chan, the Great Compassion Repentance. Everywhere he goes, he sees how cultivation is happening and he takes part. So he joined a Nianfo Fa Hui, Buddha recitation assembly at Haihui Si. Lushan is also famous for Donglin Si, Eastern Grove, where the Pure Land, they call that the kind of the Zuting for the Pure Land sect. It's also Bailu Shetang. The Neo-Confucianists take Lushan as one of their home bases. So where the Confucianism got rebuilt around Wang Yangming, Wang Shouren, and the other, the Zheng brothers and all. So Lushan is a famous place. Now, who else taught us about Lushan was actually Su Shi, Su Dongpo. Su Dongpo said, 横看成岭，侧成峰，远近高低各不同，不是庐山真面目，只缘身在此山中. He says, viewed from the side, it becomes a mountain range. If you look at it from the end, it's just a single peak. Far, near, high, low. No two views are alike. We can't know the true face of Mount Lu because we're standing right on Lushan itself, right? So that's became a famous Chengyu in China that kind of like, I'm sure there's an English counterpart. What is it? That would be a good question. I have to think about it. I can't bring it. There's someone, okay, here's what we do. We ask for friends online. What is the English counterpart? Yeah, Yihuan, you're right. Thank you. That's another kind of line. What's the English counterpart for standing? Oh, it's as clear as the nose on your face. Is that it, or is that not really? We need the counterpart phrase for 不识庐山真面目，只缘身在此山中. We have our editor-in-chief, Yihuan Jianlan. There we go. I'm going to bring it up here. There we go. Okay, sword orchid. There we go. Thank you. You just corrected ChatGPT. You did us a favor. Okay. So what would be the English counterpart for it's as clear as the nose on your face? That's not really it. You 骑驴逆驴，对不对？一样的，骑驴逆驴, right? You're riding a donkey looking for a donkey. There's got to be, I'm sure there's a British equivalent for not recognizing Mount Lu because you're standing on Mount Lu. So, okay, we'll come up with that. Your perspective is limited by your position. You have to step back to see the whole picture. Okay, there we go. All right. Now, this is sometimes Master Empty Cloud's episodes are miraculous, like orchids sending out a special fragrance. Sometimes they're just a tourist story where he, and then I went on here and I did this. It's not always dramatic. Here is the Nianpu. He says, 晋贵阳真元入湘西至麻阳止江，晋宝清铺大衡阳，李恒志和尚于岐山，寻虚日北行. I continued my journey through Kunming and Qujiang. I reached Pingyi, traveled eastward through Guiyang and Zhenyuan, entered the western part of Hunan, so he's now in Hunan at Mayang and Zhejiang. He went to Baoqing Prefecture, arrived at Hengyang, paid respects to Master Hengzhi. He stayed for 10 days, I guess that's the Xun, and continued his journey north. Sometimes the story is just this. It's not big drama, it's not a miracle, but it's an episode from the life of our teacher. Now, what's the poignant part of this? It has to do with Master Empty Cloud's father, because people sometimes we think that these sages like Master Empty Cloud, everything must have been wonderful in his life. But in fact, if you dig into it deeper, he had a incredibly difficult life. Lots of what you might consider personal disasters befell him, including nearly dying twice and being saved by Manjushri. Along with that, there were all kinds of challenges to the life of Master Empty Cloud. His father wanted him to carry on the family name. The father was a scholar and an official, and he wanted his son to do the same. So early in his life, Master Empty Cloud showed a tendency to cultivation. He liked to read sutras. He liked to meditate. He liked mysteries. He liked to talk to monks and Taoists and priests. And he was very interested in the invisible aspects, the important principles of life. He was not interested in success or wealth or power, any of the things that his father wanted him to pursue. So what did Dad do? Dad introduced him to a Taoist teacher to teach him all the secret teachings of Taoism. Because Taoists allow you to be a layman and still get the understand the principles of heaven and earth. Dad did not want his son to leave home. So what did the son do? Ran away from home. Everything his father didn't want him to do. So the father sent out family members to bring him back. So they went out into the mountains and found the young Master Xiao. His surname was Xiao. Brought him back. Dad said, okay, I'm going to marry you off. So this was in the time when marriages were arranged. The parents found a wife at an early age and said, when you come of age, you will marry this person. Well, so he was betrothed to a young woman, and then another member of the family was betrothed to another young lady, and that man died early. So the father, Master Empty Cloud's father, being compassionate and understanding, said, okay, I will marry you to both of these young women. You'll have 2 wives. Now people think, oh, that's polygamy, that's illegal in current China. Well, it was a compassionate act because the young woman was betrothed but not married yet to this husband who died. And if someone didn't marry her because she was already engaged to be married in this system, she was, quote, spoiled goods. She to marry her would not be. She wasn't no longer an honorable wife. The system was very hard on women at the time, and so Master Empty Cloud's father understood that and said, I will give you my son as your husband. He will have 2 wives, co-wives. Now, anybody interested in worldly success would say, hot dog, now I have two legal wives. How wonderful. That's a great situation. Well, Master Empty Cloud said, all right, here's the deal. And he went to talk to both of the young women before they were married, and he said, I am going to cultivate the way. I will marry you and give you a proper husband and a proper family who will protect you. You will have, food. You'll have a position. You'll have relatives. But we're going to stay pure. I don't want to consecrate our marriage. I don't want to have husband and wife relations with either one of you because I'm going to leave home. So that's the way it is, he said. And it's not recorded how the young women responded, whether they were like really, really unhappy about this. He didn't want to give them children. But they ultimately agreed. And perhaps the young women were just as pure-minded as he was. It's not clear. But think about the father. The father considered his son to be a loss. He wanted anything but what their desires were exactly opposite. So Master Empty Cloud went ahead with the marriage. Both young women were married to him, and then he left home. And he made it so that the father couldn't bring him back this time. Interestingly, as the story works out, the two young women later left home as well. So it's not recorded what their feelings were about this, but Master Empty Cloud did give both young women an honorable position. He gave them membership in his family, you could say, which is what happens to young wives. They follow their husband into the other family. But in Chinese culture, he did a very honorable thing, and then he turned his back on his dad and left home. So the father felt really let down by his son. The mother died in childbirth. She was his father's second wife because his first wife had also died. So clearly life was difficult in 19th century China. Master Empty Cloud is now returning to Hunan, which was the ancestral home of the father. And at the end of the father's life, he returned himself, retired from his official job, returned to Hunan, very unhappy with his son. And it's never recorded that they, worked things out at the end, that they came to a happy conclusion. So here is Master Empty Cloud now, having bowed 3 years to repay his mother's kindness. He dedicated the merit to his mother, and there was actually, we're going to find out later that he actually, in a particularly spiritual state, saw his mother in a pure land, leading a very peaceful rebirth. So he got some satisfaction there, but his experience with his dad was much less than that. So what are his feelings as he returns to Hunan? You can be a filial son as a child, and of course, in the Buddhist tradition, what do we say? That the highest filiality is not only to take care of your parents' physical bodies, but also to take care of their spirits. So if what do they say? 一直得道，九祖升天. If a single child is able, if one boy, one member of the family is able to accomplish the way, to 成就道业, right? To accomplish your work in cultivation and become a Buddha, to wake up and get enlightened, not only do your parents gain rebirth in the heavens, but through the extended family, 9 generations of family members also can be reborn in this incredibly blissful state in the heavens. 一直得道，九祖升天. So that is a powerful motivation for someone to leave home and cultivate the way. If you can really do that, what a wonderful gift to not just your own parents, but 9 generations of beings who have any relationship to you also gain benefit. Compare that to simply taking care of your parents in their old age, right? Which is a noble thing, and that's considered the highest of Futian, fields of blessings for a child to do. And one of Master Hua's, we look at our own teacher, what did he do? His mother passed away, and he spent 3 years by her graveside. He asked his mother, he was our teacher in the Bai family, was the youngest child, and he told his mother early on that he wanted to leave home, and his mother said, wait until I pass on, then you can leave home. So it's not recorded what Shifu said, but we look at what he did, and he followed instructions. His mom passed away, Mrs. Bai passed away, and the family went up to the graveyard outside their home in Dongbei, in northeastern China. And the funeral was held, the burial happened. Everyone else went back down the mountain. Master Hua, young Master Bai, stayed on the mountainside and said, I'm going to practice Lu Mu Xiu Xiao. I'm going to cultivate filial respect by my mother's grave. And sure enough, I'm sure his brothers and sisters said, oh, come on, you little monk, come on back home, don't go crazy. But he had made up his mind and he stayed there. 3 years passed, and he, in the process, found San Yuan Si, Three Conditions Monastery. He became a Buddhist disciple, and then shaved his head as well, and did his cultivation there on the mountainside, and following his mother's instructions, yet doing something incredible. Think about, where's the nearest graveyard near your home, wherever you are? Can you see anybody sitting beside a tombstone for 3 years? It would be illegal for one thing, and it would be incredibly difficult for another, especially with climate change and all of the above. So this is ways that we can practice filial respect as well as repaying kindness. So as we were looking back at our grand teacher, but Master Hua's refuge teacher and then head shaving teacher were both filial sons. Changzhi, Changren, Lao Heshang, Tamen, they were also cultivators of this way of repaying parents' kindness. So here is Master Empty Cloud entering Hunan province. We'll see how he feels now regarding his dad. All right. Thank you so much for being with me another week here as we look at the story of Master Empty Clouds, our grand teacher, a remarkable picture biography prepared by our teacher. So to dedicate merit, let's. I would like to. I'd like to do a different one. We've heard now that bird flu has reached the U.S., reached California. There are cases being discovered, and they're saying that in this case, America seems to be very unprepared for the possibility of an outbreak of bird fever. This is H5N1, the new kind of bird flu. If it should jump from animals to humans or birds to humans, they say the pandemic could be much worse than COVID. So let's work now while the virus is still young and recite Medicine Buddha's mantra. This is Namo Boche Fadi, Bishaja Julu Bilioli. This is number 7 in the 10 small mantras. And we have it in Sanskrit. We're going to recite it 3 times. I'm going to dedicate it to eradicating bird flu, particularly wherever it might be in the world. But Medicine Buddha's vows are very powerful. However you would like to dedicate merit, please do. Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Paisaje 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 Samugate Swaha Om Namo Bhagavate Paisaja Vaidurya Prabharajaya Tathagataya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Paisaje Paisaje Saja Samugate Swaha 再来一次 Namo Bhagavate Saja Guru Madhurya Prabharajaya Tathagataaya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadhyata Om Taisaje Taisaje Taisaja Sangate Swaha Now, before we finish, let's bow to the Buddhas. 我们向佛行三问心礼。One bow. Bows. 3 bows. Ding li la he shang. Alrighty, that's going to do it for us for today. See you all next week. Amitofo.